happening, and then that was boosted by a bunch of pro-Israel social media circles. But these were quickly debunked.
This Telegram account has no link to...
Let me pull this up. I almost forgot. This was something else that I was going to show you guys.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Asmongold, the streamer, responded to the video I made a little while ago called Asmongold's Terrorist Propaganda.
An individual made a video about me. His name is Noah Samson. The video is called Asmongold's Terrorist Propaganda.
And it was interesting because his response was to agree with the point of the video, that he supports terrorism as long as it's the US and Israel doing it. Terrorism is okay when we do it, but when they...
Yes, that's correct. That's absolutely correct.
But to Asmongold, there's no double standard here because he has different values, and these values rely on a hierarchy of human rights.
There's not a double standard. There's just a misunderstanding of my value system. My value system works like this. American interests are my primary concern. Western interests are my secondary concern. And I would say harmonious world interests are my third concern.
We are human, and they are not. To quote Asmongold himself, it's really that simple.
It's that simple. Yes, that's correct.
And that's fairly straightforward, right? If you view some groups as less human than others, then you won't care if they get killed or genocided. Under his moral framework, this all makes sense. But if this is his position, then why does he have to lie? See, in his reaction stream, Asmongold tells a bunch of lies. He misrepresents sources, he denies facts, he ignores evidence, all in order to deny that Israel and the United States are doing terrorism, that they're killing civilians, committing genocide, starting wars of aggression, which is odd, right? Because if he's okay with US-Israeli terrorism,
that's absolutely correct,
then he shouldn't need to lie about these things. So let's just look at some examples of what I mean, right? So in my video, I brought up the Manab Elementary School bombing. On the first day of the war, the US bombed an elementary school and killed over 150 people. The vast majority of them were children and teachers. And in response, Asmongold blamed Iran. In the first week of the war, the United States blew up an Iranian elementary school, killing 156 people.
I think Iran blew it up themselves, in my opinion. I don't think it was us. I think Iran blew it up themselves. They have no problem martyring their own people, and
I'm not even going to talk about... Well, I am, but I'm not going to say more than him of all people being the person to say they're known for martyring their own people.
I wouldn't put it past them.
We've known since basically the week that this happened that it was the United States. They used Tomahawk missiles. There's visual and fragment evidence.
Speaking to weapons analysts, they identified this missile as a Tomahawk missile, and only the US in that war was using Tomahawk missiles.
And every subsequent investigation on the issue has shown that it was the United States. From the New York Times, from Sky News, from Amnesty International, from Forensic Architecture, from the US government officials themselves. The claim that Iran was responsible originates from some monarchist Telegram groups that pushed misinformation about this happening, and then that was boosted by a bunch of pro-Israel social media circles. But these were quickly debunked.
This Telegram account has no link to Iranian authorities. It is an opposition outlet that is well known for mixing information and satire.
And that was 4 months ago. So either Asmongold saw this 4 months ago and then did not encounter a single piece of information since about what happened, or he has, and he's not telling the truth. Who knows, it could be either. Let's look at some more examples. In my video, I compared Israel's ceasefire violations with Hezbollah's. During the so-called ceasefire in Lebanon, Israel had committed over 10,000 violations, while Hezbollah on the other side had fired only 4 rockets. But Asmongold still manages to defend Israel here for an amazing reason. Where Israel committed literally 10,000 violations, Hezbollah fired a total of 4 rockets. But for him, that's a valid reason to promote the IDF's destruction of
I think flying over something is not as bad as shooting a rocket. I think shooting a bomb at somebody is worse than flying an airplane.
So what does Israel use to drop its bombs? Uses planes. Does he?
No, are you serious? Right? Whoa, 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 whoa. That can't be right.
You think the 10,000 violations were just people flying around doing nothing for no reason? They were bombing Lebanon.
No, they were doing like a little fun air show. You know, they were like, wee, look.
of times. They killed nearly 400 people.
We saw a barrage of IDF missiles fired across Lebanon. This was the heaviest bombardment of the conflict so far.
Again, does he actually just not know that Israel uses its planes for bombing, or is there another explanation? In my video, I brought up a report from the IAEA in 2018, which showed that Iran was abiding by the terms of the nuclear deal when the United States just pulled out. The point being that Asmongold's definition of terrorism included being untrustworthy in negotiations.
They can't be allowed to be trusted. They've already broken too many deals before. They've lied too many times.
That's what the US was doing here, so they're the terrorists. Pretty simple point, you'd think. Despite observations from independent experts.
That can't be right, because I know that my media training has told me that terrorist means that the person has to be brown, and Americans are obviously white. So there's no way that the Americans could be the terrorists in this equation. I mean, just like use simple common sense here. Hello?
That Iran was abiding by the terms of the agreement. It was
Why are you citing the IAEA whenever this is what he was just citing here? Why would you cite the IAEA whenever the IAEA also detected that Iran had uranium that was enriched at 60%? When the enrichment that you need for power is only 3 to 5%.
That's exactly what the 2018 report found. Throughout the reporting period, Iran's total enriched uranium stockpile has not exceeded.
His point doesn't even make sense. Why would you cite an organization that is impartial? Huh?
300 kilograms, enriched up to 3.67%. The figure he's referring to of 60% didn't occur until years after the US withdrew from the nuclear deal. And if you're thinking, okay, maybe he's just confused or wrongfully throwing out the IAEA as a source when the figures disagree with him, he is lying here, because someone in his chat calls him out. They point out that the report I'm citing is from 2018, and he reads the chat, ignores it, and moves on.
Your own sources show that you're wrong. That's it. Like, I mean,
There's something incredible that one person can be so fucking stupid.
this is insane. Like, what are we doing? 2018. Yes.
Of the agreement, it was the United States who randomly decided to pull out. So this sort of strange, confused lying thing isn't the only tactic he uses to pretend that the US and Israel aren't terrorists. Another one of his moves is just straight up propaganda, like Netanyahu speech IDF spokesman style propaganda. And with this one, he really plays the hits.
Remember when I said, look, remember chat, I was the first person to clock this, all right? I know pre-watch Piker has a tendency to steal all of my takes. But let it be known, all right? Let it be known. I have been the first person to clock this appropriately and correctly. Asmongold's strategy when streaming, and you will notice it, if you've watched any of his stream, you will never be able to unsee this going forward. His strategy is say some platitudes that don't make any sense, fill the space by saying, there it is, yeah, based, what are we doing here? Say a bunch of sentences, follow that up with a bunch of sentences that don't make sense until you eventually catch one chat message you can read out loud and say, yup, and then go and press play. His goal is fill as much space as possible until he gets chat sentiment and then regurgitates chat sentiment back at them.
You know, human shields.
They want to use these people as human shields, get people killed for international clout.
When they use civilians as human shields, they're the ones who are responsible.
They use the Lebanese people as human shields while they fire rockets from apartment buildings into Israel.
Hezbollah has been using you as human shields. It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garage.
Using innocent people as human shields.
To the civilians that Hamas has forced into the role of human shields.
The reason why they're firing rockets from residential areas is so they can martyr these people.
While we take extensive measures to minimize civilian casualties, Hamas makes every effort to maximize
the cluster munitions. Yeah, that's classic effort from Israel to minimize casualties.
them.
Human shields.
Human shields.
Human shields.
Human shields.
Human shields.
Human shield.
Human shields.
Israel has the right to defend itself.
He frames everything as if this is just a random attack. This is just randomly happening. It's happening because Israel is getting bombed. They're shooting missiles over to Israel.
These are his go-to responses for any time I put evidence of Israeli war crimes or genocidal actions on the screen. Every single example, automatically, it's a canned response. He has no evidence for any of them. So like I show an example of an apartment block that Israel completely destroyed in late October in the Jabalia refugee camp in Gaza. Over 120 people were killed, the vast majority of them women and children. And Asmongold's response is to defend it automatically without even knowing what happened. Doing in Gaza is killing entire families by leveling apartment blocks, killing toddlers.
And stop shooting rockets from apartment buildings.
The IDF itself didn't even mention rocket fire. Like, he's going above and beyond to lie for Israel. And he ends up doing the same thing over top of a screenshot of a news story about Hind Rejab, the toddler that Israeli soldiers murdered with her whole family and denied them medical assistance. And then when they did grant it, they murdered the medical workers.
6-year-old Hind Rejab climbed into a car with her aunt, her uncle, and her cousins in Gaza City as they prepared to flee to the southern part of Gaza. But as they were in the car, an Israeli tank approached them and opened fire. Hind's 15-year-old cousin, Leon, called the Red Crescent for help. These were her last words recorded on the call with a Red Crescent dispatcher.
Hello?
Hello, dear?
They are shooting at us.
Hello?
They are shooting at us. The tank is next to me.
Are you hiding?
Yes, in the car. We're next to the tank.
Are you inside the car?
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
That was 15-year-old Leon's last words, killed along with the rest of her family. The only one who remained alive was 6-year-old Hind. Wounded, she called the Red Crescent back, pleading with the dispatcher to be rescued.
Come take me. You will come and take me?
Do you want me to come and take you?
I'm so scared. Please come. Please call someone to come and take me.
Okay, dear. I will come and take you.
After seeking approval from the Israeli military, 2 emergency workers with the Palestine Red Crescent, Yusuf Seno and Ahmed Almadoun, went to try to rescue 6-year-old Hind. But dispatchers lost contact with the medics. Nearly 2 weeks later, Israeli forces finally withdrew from the area, and on Saturday, Hind's surviving family ventured back to the neighborhood. They found Hind dead inside the car, alongside the bodies of 5 of her family members. The car was riddled with bullet holes. The bodies of the 2 emergency workers were also found in an ambulance nearby, appeared to have been killed by Israeli fire just yards away from the car.
While this story is on the screen, he's talking about some rocket fire. It's very jarring to watch.
Stop shooting rockets from apartment buildings.
In some cases, he goes above and beyond typical Israeli propaganda claims. So to downplay the civilian death toll in Gaza, he argues that they're being over-reported because Hamas kills journalists that report military casualties. The vast majority of the people that Israel has killed in Gaza have been civilians. That is the conclusion of every...
Responding to the criticism by saying, of course. Can you imagine if another country killed more civilians than military members in the United States? And can you imagine him saying, of course, to that?
Independent expert. The only ones...
Because any people that go over there have to be pressured by the terrorists, because if they don't repeat the terrorist propaganda, the terrorists kill them. That's the reason why.
And this one's just bizarre because, like, obviously, no one needs to make anything up to prove civilian casualties. There's thousands upon thousands of videos and photos. But journalists aren't even the one that tally death tolls. That's the health ministries in Gaza and Lebanon. That's the usual line of attack for Israel propagandists, is to say they're not trustworthy, even though they are, based on independent observers. And the Israeli military itself has accepted their figures. But the ministries are typically what people attack. This is something completely different and off the wall, and I've never seen it actually happen. He doesn't cite a single source in this video, but he does allude to a source, and it's for this claim about journalists being killed by Hamas, which is a 10-year-old expose about the Associated Press. It was written by a former IDF soldier and, at the time, AP journalist.
And this is actually exposed by a person coming out of the Associated Press about 15 years ago. But for some reason, people just keep eating it up and assuming that everything that they're saying is completely true.
But even that article, written by the former IDF soldier, doesn't say that. It talks about about a handful of instances of journalist intimidation, but not a single instance of actual violence, let alone killing. And then he moves from this claim, where he's pretending to care about journalist freedom, to say that, well, actually, all the journalists in Gaza are Hamas, so you can kill them anyways, I don't care. Targeting men, women, children, journalists, health.
Of course. They're not journalists, by the way. Half of their journalists have pictures of them fighting and shooting an AK-47. The entire idea that, oh yeah, Israel's killing these journalists. Remember the other Hamas journalist that, like, he gets killed and then there's like 5 videos of him shooting an AK-47? You guys have no idea how deep this terrorist propaganda goes.
These justifications are only coherent if your one principle is defending Israel. When he can't deny the facts by just lying about them or misrepresenting sources, and when he can't deflect with Israeli propaganda lies, he just folds. He doesn't even try to respond or defend himself. He'll either scoff and roll his eyes, shooting babies in the head with snipers while they're being breastfed by their mothers alone in tents in broad daylight. The vast majority of the people that Israel has killed in Gaza have been civilians. That is the conclusion of every independent expert. Or sit there in silence while facts are being displayed on the screen that challenge his worldview. On March 12th, 2026, Israel bombed a beachside tent encampment housing people that they had displaced from their bombings, killing 8 and wounding 31. The strike came in the middle of the night, and it was a double tap strike. The first missile landed and killed 3 people near the beach, and when people approached to help the victims, the second missile landed. No evacuation warning was issued. This was in a safe zone. Before Hezbollah existed, Israel invaded Lebanon, killed tens of thousands of people, the vast...
You can see how how his brain is just completely turned off. He is not accepting any new information. It's simply, yeah, well, maybe they deserve to die.
Majority of whom were women and children, directly facilitated the slaughter and rape of thousands of civilians in the Sabra and Shatila massacre, a massacre the United Nations General Assembly declared an act of genocide. Hezbollah was formed in response to this genocidal invasion, as a group resisting it, fighting to get Israel out of their country. And that's exactly what they did. Or he'll feign disinterest, he'll pretend that he doesn't care about Israel.
I don't really care what Israel is doing, because Israel isn't the one that are blowing up our trade ships and disrupting trade in the Strait of Hormuz. I have no interest in what Israel is doing or not. What Israel does with Iran or with Lebanon or with Gaza, that is their purview.
Even though he spent the previous hour, defending it, using all its propaganda talking points.
Human shields.
Or history. History is a big one. He doesn't care about it. When that history shows examples of past Israeli aggression.
All of this historical babble, all of this bullshit means literally nothing to me. I don't care what happened in 1950. I don't care what happened in 1970.
But when he wants to defend current Israeli aggression, then he does care about history all of a sudden.
Look at Lebanon in the 60s. It was a great place. Lebanon has the potential to prosper and be a great country. They can't do that if they have Hezbollah in their country.
Or their genocidal bombing campaign in Gaza, which he compares favorably to Dresden.
Remember we dropped a firebomb on Dresden when we burned thousands of people alive? Shouldn't have fucked around.
Or there's a concern trolling, where he says, no, I don't care about the people in these places, I just care about Americans, but also I actually care the most about the people in these places.
The people that are in these countries suffer the most from it. They are the ones that suffer from it more than anybody else. More than Israelis, more than Americans, more than anybody else. They are the ones that are truly being terrorized and terrified by these evil people. And I think that's the saddest thing about it.
And on top of all these tactics, right, the lying, the propagandizing, the retreating, you have the biggest lie, which is that all of these things are within the interests of American citizens.
But fundamentally, as an American, I have to advocate for American interests. I simply have a tier list of the people whose best interests I keep in mind. At the top of that tier list ranks American civilians, American citizens.
That's right, American citizens. It is within your interest to pay a bunch of money for gas and pay over $1,000 per family due to a destabilized global economy, and send $100 billion of taxpayer money to kill children overseas instead of helping children here, and having troops get vaporized. There is nothing Americans love more than all of these things. And the reason they love it, right, the reason you love it, is because it's a trade-off we are willing to make for the ultimate goal of killing terrorism.
I think that we need to remove the IRGC and we need to completely dismantle them in all facets and all facilities. Islamic terrorism is an existential threat across the Middle East and also globally the world.
Yeah, and how's that going?
Yeah, I mean, it's going really well, right? This is the same as when people say we can't raise minimum wage, We can't invest in infrastructure. We can't have health care because then you'll lose your doctor. We can't have any of those things, okay? Because it would actually make your life worse. Don't ask me how, but it would make your life worse. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Man, have you checked the news lately? You wanted regime change?
We can't do any of those things because it'll make your life worse, but also at the same time, your life is going to get worse anyways, so why would we do anything? Okay. We have to do something about all these terrorists in the Middle East. And what have we been doing recently? What exactly have we been doing? Oh, murdering a bunch of civilians in the Middle East. And how is that working out? You're creating more terrorists. Oh, okay, well, we shouldn't change our strategy. We should just keep doing it. Clearly, it's working, right?
Oh, looks like you couldn't get it. You wanted to open the Strait of Hormuz? Oh, looks like that couldn't happen either.
Iran again insisted it will keep the Strait of Hormuz closed until the U.S. meets a sweeping list of demands.
The nuclear deal that you blew up to try and get a better one? The latest terms not looking so hot.
Now that we have the text, it is materially weaker than President Obama's JCPOA for the United States.
The Iranians put forward a new proposal, which is actually quite remarkable. What they say in that proposal is that every one of the issues, except the nuclear issue, has to be settled up front, which is another way of saying the United States has to concede on every one of the 10 issues that I described before. We're not only talking now about lifting oil sanctions, we're talking about lifting all sanctions.
That's fine, no big deal. It's not like we depleted our missile stockpiles, conceded sanctions relief and reconstruction money, and weakened the American empire in humiliating fashion. Mission accomplished, chat. Thank you for your service. Okay, so anyways, we return to that question of why. If he says he's okay with killing civilians, then why is he lying and pretending like he's not? If he says he's okay with the US acting like a rogue state, why is he lying and pretending it's not? Even when that belligerence is directly harming everyone in the world except like a few billionaire pedophiles and weapons manufacturers. And I think there's a few reasons, right? I think it's preaching to the choir. If you go to these videos, you'll see a bunch of comments talking about how awesome Asmongold is for defending America's right to go out and kill terrorists. The choir is in on the lie, right? They're willing to watch Asmongold fail to address the facts that prove that when they say they're fighting terrorism, they're actually just killing a bunch of kids and, doing the terrorism. They'll still believe that and support him regardless of what he says. But also for the people that are somewhere outside of just the full choir, I think he's misleading them. He's making it so that when they encounter evidence of Israel committing a genocide or the US mass murdering people in wars of aggression, they come with these lies planted in their heads about how what they're seeing or reading actually isn't real.
I don't think it was us. I think Iran blew it up themselves. Shooting a bomb at somebody is worse than flying an airplane. The enrichment that you need for power is only 3 to 5%. Stop shooting rockets from apartment buildings. They're not journalists, by the way. Half of their journalists have pictures of them fighting and shooting an AK-47.
The thing that is happening, one of the...
It's like the level of lying is insane. Because I would understand just like the pure racism of just, I don't give a fuck what happens. I don't care how many of these people we kill. Because their lives don't matter. But it's like the lying to justify the already existing horrible position is just insane.
Most documented things in modern history actually is fake or actually is something other than it is. I think lying also helps protect the grift, right? Like if you're right wing and you support Israel, you can kind of say whatever you want and you won't actually be punished monetarily or by platforms. Somehow Asmongold has managed to push it. He recently got a 2-week ban for advocating for the murder of migrant men, women, and children.
This is emotional blackmail, right? Well, you can't shoot these people. They have kids with them. Well, then don't bring your kids. If you don't want to get shot, then don't bring your fucking kids. It's really
this feels like a weird, sick game of like Family Feud where it's like the prompt is type of things that a school shooter would say to justify the mass murder they just went on.
Emotional blackmail, right? Well, you can't shoot these people. They have kids with them. Well, then don't bring your kids. If you don't want to get shot, then don't bring your fucking kids. It's really simple. You mean you'd shoot adults and deport the kids, right? Well, I'd shoot whoever. Yeah, I'd shoot whoever. I mean, if it's kids, women, men, anybody, just shoot them. They going to stop coming over?
But he's also aware that it's not a sustainable strategy to be saying stuff like that all the time, so he's acknowledged himself he's going to tone down his rhetoric, not because he doesn't believe this stuff, but because he doesn't want to get banned.
I might try to I'm going to try to obviously tone it down a little bit because I don't want to get suspended all the time.
People like this aren't going to last forever, right? But facts are facts.